Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Brandon.
This is Bryce.
And everybody, welcome back to ComixKings. Welcome to Weekly Wrap-Up. We're bringing it back. We had it over on IG Live. Now we're on to YouTube with Weekly Wrap-Up every 8 o'clock Friday night. Got a new co-host, Bryce Hillbilly Comics. How you doing, my friend?
Doing good, man. How about you?
I'm doing great, man. Super excited to get into these books. We're going to break them down. We're going to recap, review them, talk about Winter Soldier, talk a little bit about the Snyder Cut later, and then end the show giving recommendations for new books coming out the next week. Okay, so everybody joining in the live chat, I want to give a big shout out to you guys. Thank you for coming in, hanging out with us tonight. Drop a comment, and you will be on the show forever and ever and ever. Like, for example, we have Gabby, California Blend. How you doing? Saw your last day. Gabby is a phenomenal artist, okay? So if you guys want some cool covers, hit up Gabby for sure, 100%. And we got Jen, the indie queen. How are you doing?
Hey.
I have a crown somewhere over here just for you. But thank you guys so much.
ComixKings might as well have the queen.
Exactly. But anyway, first book I want to talk about is going to be Justice League number 59. This is by Brian Michael Bendis and David Marquez is on the art. And for all of you new Avengers fans that somehow are DC fans as well, you made it. It's finally your time to get Bendis. Okay? But this book didn't exactly happen in the way that I wanted it to. So we have a new cast of characters. Okay, so the team is basically going to be Hawkgirl, Hippolyta, Aquaman, Green Arrow, Black Canary, Black Adam or Shazam or whatever the hell he is nowadays, Adam, Superman, Batman, Naomi, and am I missing anyone?
Let me check. Did you mention Green Arrow?
I did. I got them both because they came in so casually in this book. So anyway, we open up with Black Adam coming in to like talk to a kid, and this monster shows up who looks a lot like that dude from Monsters University. So we go back watch Monsters University, you know, the dude with the horns and that fraternity. That's exactly what this guy looks like. And he has the same energy signature as a character that Brian Bendis created. You know her as Naomi. So that's like the whole focal point is this guy has crossed over just like Naomi has. And so they kind of have to fight him. But Adam is like on his own. The Justice League shows up and you know how in DC Infinite Frontier it's like, oh, I'm Shazam. They're like, you know, he's like, I'm just Adam now. Because we knew that was going to be crap when we said it in the first place. But the art is great. David Marquez's art is phenomenal. I didn't like some of the faces. I don't know. I think the coloring was off for me. I think that was like my issue with the art was just the coloring itself. But everything else was fine. The dialogue was not good. It's just this is not Bendis' feel, you know?
No. You mentioned the coloring. The coloring was actually something I really enjoyed about it.
You know, it was weird. Like I didn't like the way Superman's costume was colored. I didn't like it.
Yeah. Superman was a little off, but I think the way they drew and colored Black Adam made up for it.
A lot of the voicing, a lot of the description, the dialogue was a little bit very Silver Age. It made me
really cheesy. It was really cheesy.
Very cheesy. It's like you watch Teen Titans Go and it's like it's that kind of dialogue, like Cartoon Network. That's kind of what it felt like, and it just was. This book was not good. So as we're going on, we're learning about this new villain, and he gets attacked by sharks, and then he leaves. Superman punches him, and now we're like dealing with the Justice League back at home, and like we need to do better. We need to be better. And Green Arrow is really leading this conversation. I don't think Bendis hasn't realized that Green Arrow has not been relevant since a very long time. And I love Green Arrow. So I kind of hate to say that he's not that relevant, but they're like, we need to appeal more to this. And Bendis like, I know someone that I created, Naomi. Got it. But Black Adam or Adam gets to her first, and that's kind of the plot. That's how we're going to bring everyone together. When Bendis was doing New Avengers in Marvel, he had a very cool grasp of the characters unlike anyone else who was writing at that time. I don't think that Bendis has been writing in DC long enough to understand exactly what's the grand scheme. And I'm a huge Bendis fan. He's one of my favorite writers. But I didn't think that this had the same feel. This series will either be very great, it'll either get much better, or it'll be like his Superman and drop a dud, which he keeps reminding us that he is Superman. He's like, this is the only character I know how to write in this book. Superman, Naomi. I did them both. Green Arrow. That's what I always wanted to do. I did him in Leviathan that you didn't read because it was trash, but I still did it. So that's very much how this book felt.
And that's where we're kind of different in this, because you mentioned Bendis being one of your favorite writers. I have little to no background with Brian Michael Bendis. I've only been reading comics for a few years, and Bendis is just one of those writers that I haven't gotten around to. And so the dialogue was a little off-putting for me, but at the same time, I could kind of see glimpses of charm in it. Like you mentioned it being very Silver Age-y, and for me, Silver Age dialogue has a lot of charm with the cheese, and I got some glimpses of that here.
Well, here's the thing. Bendis has sparks of greatness where he's going to take a character and just make him his own. I'm wondering which character he's going to do that in right now, and I'm looking at the cast that he has, and I'm like, none of them. And I'm like, don't do it to anyone, because you tried to do it with Superman, and it didn't work. I think he'll narrow his little golden boy, just because he's so similar to Ronin. But then again, this is not the book that I would recommend first reading Bendis on. I wasn't a big fan. I'm a fan of the cover. I'm a fan of the cover more than I am anything else. But the effort was there. The effort wasn't even there to me. That's the biggest thing, is I didn't feel Bendis' effort.
I don't know. The main issue for me was the villain. You mentioned him looking like the dude from Monsters University.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this art again, and the only thing I can think of is hipster Trigon. I got some serious Trigon vibes, and then he opens his mouth, and it's just straight hipster dialogue.
Yep. But anyway, if you guys are feeling the same, drop it down in the comments. Is this a recommend for me?
That could just be me, but
yeah, this is a very weary recommend. This is just, it's if you give it another issue maybe, or revisit it 12 issues later and wait for it to get better. That's one of these books is I'm gonna keep tabs on. Am I gonna be super excited like I was going into this? No. But anyway, we got another book to talk about. Bryce, you got a book.
Well, actually, if we're sticking with Justice League just for another hot second, because it's not very long, what I am looking forward to in this book, and the reason I'm going to pick it up for at least a couple more issues, is Ram V's Justice League Dark Story.
Oh, yeah, the backup. I loved it. Okay.
That was actually really good.
Yes. And this is why you guys have to read Tynion's Justice League Dark and Ram V's last volume of Justice League Dark, which was after Tynion left the book because he had too much on his plate. He was like, I'm committed to Batman full time now and all my indie stuff, but sorry, Justice League, you're dropped. In my opinion, Justice League Dark was very underrated, and I talked about it a little bit yesterday on the Tag Team Thursday show. So Ram V is definitely taking those mystical characters. I didn't really invest myself too much in a Justice League Dark Story backup because I want that to be its own series. I want it to be its own series because the cast of characters there don't get enough love, and they got their moment to shine in that solo series that DC's like, quarantine sucks, so we're not going to give you guys another book. But Jen, yes, I do love Ram V too. If you guys have Swamp Thing, then definitely go pick that up because it is golden.
Swamp Thing, between this and Swamp Thing, Ram V is moving up my radar.
Exactly.
He's continuing to move up my radar.
Adam's always here. Welcome, Adam, to the show. Glad you're here. And Adam has been with us with weekly wrap-up since day one.
Hey, there we go.
There we go.
Thank you.
Co-hosts. It was me and the kid, then it was me and Ryan, and now it's me and Hillbilly Bryson. Hopefully he's here to stay a while.
Yeah, even though this is my first show, thank you, Adam. Hopefully you stick around and I don't scare you off.
Yeah. All right, you got a book to talk about. What you got, buddy?
Yeah, I do. So the book I have to talk about is X-Force by Benjamin Percy.
Ben, who's on the art?
Who's on the art? Gary Brown.
I'm not familiar with his work.
I wasn't either, but after reading this issue, and I think he may have done the past couple. I don't feel like going and getting him out right now, but he may have done the past few issues.
No, I think Asara did the last few.
He started with the last few?
I know. No, those are words on the X title that I've seen because I've been picking this up, reading it avidly.
Yeah, but between his pencils and Guru EFX's colors, this might be some of my favorite art that I've seen from X-Force in a little bit. And that might just be because of like the psychedelic.
You got a book called The Many Deaths of Lelia Starr, and you got wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, and then an indie title comes out. I think I've seen something about that.
I'm the slightest bit envious, but I'm sure you're gonna hit my DMs and talk to me all about that because I'm
gonna have to pick that up, Jen.
Exactly.
But yeah,
there we go. And Nigel, my guy, what is up, brother? How you doing, my man? Thank you for joining us.
What's up, man?
Shout out to you. And if you guys did read anything interesting, drop down the chat below. Let us know what you're reading. Let us know what you like, what you didn't like, all that good stuff. But X-Force, go ahead, guys.
Yeah, did you guys read X-Force? Let us know. So we start out with Black Tom. He's sort of meditating on Krakoa. And I'm still trying to figure out what Black Tom's character, like what his purpose is, but I think he's mainly there to communicate with the island, sort of like communicate with the plant life and everything.
Yeah, Black Tom is basically like a communication barrier. He's also just a jackass.
Well, that's fair. You gotta have that every now and then. Especially since Beast, as we'll find out later, a bit of foreshadowing, is kind of out of commission in this issue, and he can't be the ultimate douchebag.
Yes. X-Force, if you want to see your X-Men be a douche, then read X-Force.
Read X-Force. That being said, this is probably my favorite X title that I'm reading right now. Of course, I'm only reading this and X-Men at the time being, but this edged it out just a little bit. So we see Black Tom. He's sort of meditating, and he sees this little cloud-looking thing. I'll go ahead and show you. You may be able to see that in the background there.
Yes.
Walking towards him, and he says, it's like, yeah, I can't sense you. Like, what's going on? And then he just gets overtaken. Right there.
Yeah.
My camera. Yeah, he just gets kind of overtaken. And so that opens us up to the issue. And basically what we've been trying to figure out for the past few issues is, or at least the past 2 issues, is something is going on with Quentin. I forget his last name. Kid Omega. Something's going on with Kid Omega, and he doesn't know what's going on, but a lot of people he encounters, he ends up hurting psychologically and turns themselves into this. Yes. I think I told you, it reminded me of the Cloud Monster from Middle West.
Yes. Yes, if you guys have not read Middle West, go do it.
Subtle plug for a book you guys should check out.
One of the best indie books that no one read.
But yeah, it starts out here with Sage at a bar, and Blob turns into it.
Yeah, Sage is always at a bar in this book.
Yeah.
Like, she lives in Krakoa bars.
And then Jean and Wolverine, they're kind of getting it on here. And then Jean goes through like some body horror thing, and Wolverine turns into one of those monsters. And so basically the entire issue is a bunch of people are turning into these monsters in people's heads. And as the reader, we know it goes back to Kid Omega, but we don't know how. And so we meet up with Kid Omega and Phoebe Cocoon.
Is that his last name? Quire?
Quentin Quire. That's what it is.
Okay. I don't know why I read that as queer. I was like, Quentin
Quire. Yes.
And he flies on Krakoa. You have a Summers, Wolverine, and Jean Grey threesome. So I guess
I'm not even gonna try to understand Krakoan relationships. That's
the thing. Mutants have been around forever, so they can do whatever the hell they want.
Pretty much. But no, so we meet up with Quentin and Phoebe from the last issue. They went on a date, and it was really sweet, and it ended with this whole thing starting that's going on in this issue. That happened at the end of last issue. And so we meet up with them. They're trying to figure out what's going on, and they run up on Beast, and Beast is passed out. He had a stroke. A literal stroke, and he's trying to communicate with them. Sage is trying to help him out.
So, after years of there being a triangle of fighting for Jean, they're like, let's just do it together.
Jonathan just gave him both.
And there's like a high five, high power. But Am I echoing?
I don't hear anything.
Okay.
Am I echoing?
Let me know.
Okay.
But anyway, continue.
But yeah, piggybacking off of that, it seems like Cyclops and Wolverine have gotten along a lot better since.
Going after Jean Grey.
But yeah, so Sage ends up coming up trying to help him out. She tells him that Beast had a stroke, and so Quentin decides he's going to enter Beast's mind. Phoebe's going to help him out, make sure nothing gets too out of control. And so they do that. And a lot of the rest, the next couple pages, which I love the coloring, by the way, by Guru EFX.
Yes, his coloring.
He's one of my favorite colorists right now. Him and Matt Wilson. But
I mean, Matt Wilson was a given.
yeah, but I mean, got to throw him out there.
Yeah, of course.
And so in his mind, it shows Kid Beast in a
She meant throuple.
Schoolroom. Throuple. Okay. I was about to say, I didn't know what it meant by puppet, but I just kind of went with it.
I knew what she meant.
You knew what she meant? You guys are on the same wavelength? Good.
Always.
But yeah, so it shows Kid Beast in a schoolroom in his mind. He fell asleep, and this teacher is just, you don't know what the deal with this teacher is. It's a shadow. And then it flashes to the teacher that's messing with Beast. And it's another one of those Middle West monster things.
The psychedelic monster.
Quentin.
Oh.
It's Quentin. And so we find out that Quentin is basically the cause of all this. He's not trying to be. And at this point, we really don't know why that is. But we find out later that the reason that is because if you remember earlier on in X-Force with Domino.
Real quick. What's up,
Captain Comics?
Blame our frame teammate right there.
Here we go.
And we lost.
Anybody else? Oh, y'all lost.
But anyway,
better partner next time, Captain.
We'll get.
I'm just playing. Continue?
Yeah, you continue.
Okay. Yeah. So we find out later with Quentin and Phoebe sitting on a cliff at sunset. It's really sweet. I'm liking this couple dynamic between them so far. Just throwing that out there. I think that could really turn into something. But we find out that Quentin basically, in all his deaths that he's endured throughout the series, underwent sort of the same treatment that Domino went through earlier on in the series.
Right.
Do you remember what I'm talking about? Where they basically skinned her and harnessed her powers.
Yes.
They harness Quentin's too. And that ends up being a whole lot more dangerous.
Right. So that's basically the book.
Yeah, that's basically the book. And it ends with Quentin being haunted by himself. Hopefully setting up the next issue.
Well, obviously it's going to set up the next issue.
Well, obviously. But I mean, I word vomit sometimes. It's setting up the next issue. It's looking like to be a battle in Quentin's mind against himself. So
right. Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I honestly like the psychological direction that this series is taken as opposed to just straight up Black Ops action.
It has that too. But
it definitely still has that. That's what it is at its roots. But I definitely like the more psychedelic direction.
Right, and I kind of noticed about some of these like spin-off titles is it's allowing you to do more character studies about these smaller characters because you know that it's going to tie in.
Yeah. I knew nothing about Kid Omega going into this.
Exactly. So Grant Morrison when he created him when he was doing New X-Men, it still was like, okay, we're going to do all these X-Men, but they're just going to have like a singular plot, not exactly. So it's like, okay, if you're not reading that book, you can still catch the bigger picture. This is like, okay, we're going to make this relevant. Like Gorgon was a minor character, and kicking ass and 10 of swords, being the biggest badass of the book, right? I bet you didn't see that coming. So no matter what you're doing, and the legacy that Hickman is going to leave off this book, and all these creators that are doing the spinoffs, is these characters are just going to matter and and allow the next generation after Hickman and these guys create more mutants, because these guys are already going to have their own characters.
Which that's really what I've liked about this whole Dawn of X wave so far, is because you don't need to focus as much on Wolverine and Jean and people like that, because they're already established. People are going to love those characters, and they're always going to love those characters.
Oh, I don't like Cyclops. No one likes Cyclops.
I love Cyclops, man. What are you talking about? I think there's a lot to love about him.
This is X-Men. If you're not hopping on, well, there's a book for you in there, because I guarantee there is something in here that is
there is something in there for everybody.
I read Black Knight, Curse of the Ebony Blade, #1. This is by Cy Spurrier, art by, if I can find the credits page in here. Okay, art by Sergio Davila. I butchered that name. I'm so sorry, but you're probably not going to see this. If you are, I'm sorry. I got the Peach Momoko cover, but anyway, spinning out of the King in Black tie-in of Black Knight. Basically, Dan Whitman has come back, and he holds the Ebony Blade. If you guys are not familiar with that, it is a super powerful sword, but it has a trade-off, because magic always has that kind of a trade-off. So every time he uses it, it's just going to consume him in more darkness. So the more angry he gets, or not the more angry, the more lust he has. This sword makes him crave killing, like crave that violence, crave him going over the edge, which so far with the Avengers he has been able to, but this book is just going to push him over the top. Ends up killing him, but he comes back later on in the book as the resurrection back in Camelot. So that's fun. My highlight of this was his language and Thor's language. Is like, Thor's like, why are you insulting me? Why are you mocking me? And it's like, because they talk in the same language, the same Norse mythology language, Old English language, where he's like, oh, why there's so many dies and this, and he's like, dude, like, we're like the same. But the X-Men don't, or not the X-Men, the Avengers don't like him, because he's a character. He's a character. So it's just Simon Spurrier understands magic very well. His Hellblazer, which was the book that DC never let him finish. So, of course, he's just going to take his talents over to Marvel, kind of like LeBron James taking his talents to Miami Beach. But that's kind of what I see Simon Spurrier as right now. And he just came out and delivered strong this first issue. I'm not going to really go into depth about it. I wasn't the biggest Black Knight reader. I read his first 2 appearances in Avengers, but I didn't read anything past that. But you're still able to follow along this book. So if this was like an iffy because you don't know much about this character, I would say definitely pick it up. It's gonna finish no matter what. So this is a book I would say trade waiting, but if you want to support Cy Spurrier because he's a very talented creator, definitely pick it up. The art doesn't miss a beat. I really had no issues with this book. The dialogue was there, everything was there. And Spurrier's just shining his talent everywhere he can right now. So Adam Matthews says, I know some hardcore Cyclops fans. So do I. I just heckle them a little bit. You are a Gambit guy yourself, so you're gonna get some heckling from me in the near future. But
how could you not like Gambit though?
I love Gambit. It's just, I think Gambit has been he's the character that everyone wants more of, but Marvel's just like, no.
I definitely do want more Gambit.
Yeah, everyone wants more Gambit. It's just Marvel's like, no, we're not letting you do that.
We're not gonna give you what you want there.
You can have him so long as we have Rogue next to him. But the last time we did a Gambit series, we accidentally gave it to a shitty creator, or washed up Tom DeFalco, who did a Gambit series in, I believe, 97. I think it was 97. It was dog water. So yeah, no more Gambit.
Was that the last Gambit series was 97?
Well, there was Mr. and Mrs. X, which was spinning out old. Kelly Thompson did that with art. Okay. Oh, who did the art? That's gonna trip me up. But Kelly Thompson did that, and it was fine. But it's still not. It's them in space, and they run into Deadpool.
Nothing to warrant really pushing out a Gambit book anytime soon.
No, because he's an Excalibur, and you're only gonna have a little bit of it. Excalibur.
Yeah.
So as long as Rogue is in the book, you're gonna have, but they're not. You're getting Gambit in small dosages in Excalibur. But they're not pushing Black Knight. Go read it. I'm definitely picking up the second issue. I was pleasantly surprised by this.
I didn't pick it up, so now you've got me wanting to go pick. I was so close to picking it up, and I was just like, there are other books I'd rather get.
My question for you: do you like swords?
Do I like swords?
Do you like a little bit of time travel? Do you like big castles and horses? Then just read it.
I was gonna say it sounds like a mixture of like Back to the Future and like Lord of the Rings, which are two of my favorite trilogies ever.
Great. So. It's just great. Just read it. It's fun. It's lighthearted, and if you want your Greek or you want your Norse mythology language, just read it. But back over to you for another book that you read. It's a very known spoiler. I just want to keep it that way. So go read it.
So we're doing another book that I read?
Yep. I have 3 more. I have 3 more. I got 3 more.
3 more. Okay, so I think the one I'm actually going to talk about next is Radiant Black.
Yes, nice.
By Kyle Higgins and art by Marcelo Costa with Becca Carey, I'm guessing, doing the colors, or she maybe.
I guess.
I'm not sure. I should have maybe looked at that beforehand, but we're gonna get the book out anyway, and we're gonna talk about it a little bit.
I got all my books out of the bags already. He came prepped.
I like to protect. I like to protect them.
They'll go back in there. They'll go back in there. Just.
I was reading my last book that I'm going to talk about here, and you guys will find out in a sec. That book took forever to read. It was so long, but it was worth it. So I barely got on here in time.
Yeah, and I was reading Captain Marvel before the show, but we're going to talk about it.
But just to show you guys some of the art, very clean, very sleek, a little cartoonish, but overall very. Now I haven't read Invincible, but I have seen some of the art. And the art, to me, is very Invincible-esque.
You better show up in the MCU or else. I don't know if we're talking about Black Knight. I don't know if we're talking about Gambit. But, we're probably talking about Gambit. But
we're talking about Gambit. I don't think any, like, I don't think anybody's going to be a Black Knight better show up in the MCU or else. It'd just be like, oh, Black Knight's in the MCU? Cool.
No one's going to care about that.
But this is a new superhero book out from Image. If you guys didn't read issue 1, that's basically his origin. He is basically a down-on-his-luck writer. He's pretty much $40,000 in debt due to credit cards, and so he has to move back home with his parents in his mid-30s.
Bye, Jen. Thank you for stopping by. And if you guys are, this is a nice plug for the replay. If you guys are catching the replay and you made it this far, thank you so much, and continue for the rest of the video. I'm supposed to tell people to like and subscribe to the channel. I always forget because I feel like if you like the video and you like what we have to say, you would feel inclined to, kind of by cause and effect.
Like, subscribe, leave a comment, hit the post notification bell. That way you can never miss a show. You can see Brian's beautiful face a few times a week, and you can see mine once a week. And
yeah, I guess that's what I'm supposed to say. Every YouTuber's supposed to say that. So there it is. Thank you, Bryce.
But basically, his name's Nathan, and he's a down-on-his-luck writer. He's an Uber driver at the beginning of issue 1 trying to pay off his tens of thousands of dollars of credit card debt.
Nice. How do you get that much money, in your debt? You must.
I don't know, but he has to move back with his parents, and so he does. He goes out with his best friend. His childhood best friend to a bar. Huh?
Or he can be the Super Bowl streaker and just make that money back in at night.
Yeah. He goes out to a bar with his childhood best friend. His best friend gets super hammered. And
friend.
Yeah. Nathan's kind of the designated sober guy in this. But he sees this black hole on the train tracks, and I may actually be able to show you a picture. That's what the black hole looks like. God bless, where's my camera? Right there. That little dot. Okay. That's what the black hole looks like. Okay. And so Nathan goes up and he grabs it and he turns into this superhero. He gets this suit, and that's basically his origin. So we start out issue 2. It's going to be kind of spoilers, kind of not. I recommend you guys go pick up issues 1 and 2 if you haven't already. Reading it is totally different than me just telling you his origin. So definitely go pick it up. This is a recommend from me. Basically, it's a lot of talking between him and his dad, between him and his friend, and he's trying to figure out his powers up to this point. And he encounters a villain. I can see it. I can see that, Adam.
I can see it.
If nothing else, then in like a post-credit scene for like another Avengers movie or something. But
maybe we'll just get like a smile. Like
maybe. Maybe.
Radiant Black.
Yeah, Radiant Black. So he's trying to figure out his powers while continuing to drive for this Uber app they call Driver because his dad won't let him live at home anymore if he doesn't have a job. He says those are the rules.
Right.
So he's trying to balance all that out while encountering villains. You find out at the end of issue 1 that there's this villain that is basically like Radiant Black, but in red. And so he's trying to figure his powers out, fight him, and basically do your like early superhero career stuff. It's very much like something you've seen before, but with a different tone and a different feel. And it feels fresh.
Right.
Like it feels like me and Brandon, we're big wing guys. We're big in chicken wings. Imagine your favorite chicken wings you've ever had being like across the country and you haven't had them in 5 years. And then you go across the country and you have your favorite chicken wings, the taste that is in your mouth.
I don't know how I would survive my football Sundays without wings.
I would just imagine it. That's what this feels like. It feels like your favorite chicken wings or your favorite pizza that you haven't had in forever, and it's just that fresh taste back in your mouth, while at the same time having, dare I say, spectacular artwork.
And spectacular is back.
It's a bit of an inside joke between us. You might get it later, but
the art is spectacular.
Spectacular. Having very clean artwork, very different kind of layouts from page to page. Sometimes you're breaking through the panels, and then sometimes you're very confined to the panels, like on this page here. And it fits really well with the tone of the book. After issue 1, I was a little hesitant, like nothing stood out to me. But after issue 2, I can't recommend this book enough, and hopefully it only gets better. Kyle Higgins and Marcelo Costa are doing a great job with this book. What's up, John? How you doing, man?
Man, hope you're having a good night. Thank you for stopping by saying hi.
They're doing a great job with this book, and it's only 2 issues in. So if you guys are looking for another indie book and you like superheroes, or if you guys only read indies and are wanting to jump into superheroes, this is perfect for you guys. Honestly, I think this is perfect for anybody. I've been trying to get Brandon to read this for a minute.
I am like Kyle Higgins. He's not a nice person to me. Okay, look, he was on the phone the entire time I met him at a con. Didn't show me the light of day. I brought him one book. He signed it, turned his back to me, came back around and said that'd be $5 for a signature all over the Winter Soldier's face. It on his face. And said $5. Didn't even give me the light of day. I will never.
Okay. So yeah, Kyle Higgins is a jerk, but
I forgave him for what he did in Nightwing in the New 52. I'm not forgiving him for that though.
Okay, so Brandon, I know single issue sales are a lot of times what support the creators. So if you don't want to support Kyle Higgins, trade weight on this. It's worth the read.
No, because I don't want the series to continue. I mean, I'd say fine. You know, people are enjoying it. I'll give it a read. Fine.
Give it a read.
I'll read it online.
Okay.
I'll get it online so they don't see my digital sale.
So here's the thing, too. Here's the thing, too. Just subtle plug for Image's website. If you go on Image's website, they will let you read the first issue of almost all their titles for free on the website.
Okay, fine. I'll read issue 1, and then I will
So,
like Comixology and not give Alec track my payment. There we go. All right. Anyway.
Yeah. Everybody else, read Radiant Black. Imprint. Support this series.
What is up, my friend? How you doing, man? Goody Geek is a big DC fan, so he's going to be excited for the second segment of the show, which is going to be Snyder Cut. I am halfway through, but all right. So I read Thor number 13. This is by Donny Cates, Nick Klein. Colors is Matt Wilson. We talked about him earlier. This is the penultimate issue in this arc. So this is part 5 of 6. What's going on is Donald Blake is on Earth. Thor is trapped in the dimension that Donald Blake was originally trapped in. And and Valkyrie is going to get Odin to clean up his mess, which is take care of Donald Blake. So she finds him at a bar. Where else do you find Asgardian down in the dumps? A bar. So Odin is just drinking away his problems, and she explains the situation. He's like, I'm not doing it. And I like a big old baby. So then she further explains. He's like, oh, that'll do it. And he's like, where's Thor? He can do it. She's like, Thor right there. She's like, I'm in. And then he's like, I'm in. Let's go. So they're back on Asgard. Then they go back to wherever Thor is in the dimension Blood, and they're trying to get everybody out that Donald Blake trapped in. So Loki shows up. Doctor Strange shows up, but he's in the same costume that the Donny Cates run. As you guys, if you guys don't know, Mark Waid changed his costume when he did it with Barry Kitson, and then he changed it again in Surgeon Supreme. Okay, so this is 3 costumes ago. He did his run in Donny Cates wrote in 2016 for Doctor Strange. So Donny says, this is the last thing I remember, so I'm just gonna do it anyway. Draw this. So, granted, don't you just love to see him in that costume? Yes, I like it better that Lockjaw's there next to him, but. So they rescue Thor, and they go back to Asgard and they confront Donald Blake. And Donald Blake's just going to town on everything, and he's like trying to suck the life out of the life tree, which is where Thor is kind of keeping Asgard alive through. So Thor's like, "Where do you think all that power went that you were draining?" And he comes back, and and then Thor dips. We don't know why he dips, but Odin comes in. And you just see a lot of blood. You see like a lot of fire. You see a lot of stuff. And it's like, okay, now who's missing? Everyone in the Thor mythos the past 10 years is in this book, except for one person who we see on the last page. No surprise, it is the Destroyer. Okay, so that's what we're leading it up to. The Destroyer is going to come in and kick his ass. Oh, and you got the bird. You got Thor's birds.
You got the bird.
Figure out what their purpose is. They're just there chilling, waiting for Don.
Hugging him money, as I call him. That could be my hit coming out, though.
Donny Cates just like, yep, they're just chilling there until I make them relevant to the book. But they're relevant, so keep an eye on them. Because Donny Cates is writing a lot like Hickman, where every character in his stories are relevant. So we'll keep it going. This is Donny Cates still going into his God roots. He loves using his big cast of characters. Donny Cates to me is a kid in a toy box. You know why? It's like Donny Cates reminds me of a kid who has a bunch of action figures. And the characters that he doesn't have, he's not using. Everyone else is like, boom, boom, boom. And you got that one badass. You got these badass Transformer characters that are crossing over into his universe, but you won't see it before because they weren't in that box. He's like, boom, Nick Klein, draw this. And he's like, yeah. And he's like, Stegman, draw that. And Stegman's like, yeah. But that's where you get, no, he's that one character that crossed over. This is where you get, who was it? What was it? Endless Winter. Whatever it was. That was another character that crossed over. You didn't know about it because it was another toy box, but that's Donny Cates. He's just having fun.
Which, honestly, that's what I love about his writing, is because he does what we all want to. It's like, wouldn't it be cool if, like, Thor got the entire force from the life tree and then possessed the destroyer armor? Like,
yep.
Like, how OP would that be?
You're getting it. And it's like, it's harmless. It's not like he's making everything can be, I don't want to say undone, but he's not making any big changes. You know, Thor was a hero for Galactus. You know, that was going to be huge, but no, Galactus is dead.
Yeah. Which, it's comics. Nobody stays dead.
No one ever stays dead, but it's enough to get you to understand what's going on. And Donny Cates, I didn't like the guy anyway. Fuck him.
Which, this being the first Thor book that I've ever read was when Donny Cates jumped onto this. This has been a blast for me.
Right.
Like this has been an absolute blast. And not every book that I read do I want it to be something profound, something that'll impact me, something that'll, like a book that I'm going to talk about next that got me emotional. I don't want every book to be like that.
You're going to talk about next, I cried. But
yeah, I don't want every book to be like that. Sometimes I want this. I want a book where I can tell that the writer and the artist love the character, right, and they just want to have all the fun that they wanted to have when they were kids, playing with their action figures or reading their comics.
Right. And another thing you guys got to realize is some creators out there like to make their legacy by stepping over other people's toes. Bendis did that on Superman. Grant Morrison did that on Green Lantern, trying to undo everything Jeff Johns did 10 years ago. 13 years ago now. But this is a continuation from the Jason Aaron tenure. This is he's not stepping on his toes. He's still including everything. How in the world does Galactus die? Thor hits him with the hammer very hard.
Read the first 6 issues. Trust me.
That's for you to find out.
That arc, I will say, you see Thor imbued with the power cosmic.
Blurry.
I have no idea.
It's very blurry right now, and I don't like it. But
you see Thor imbued with the power cosmic, and it is just incredible.
Exactly. They definitely do respect. They love and respect the character big time, and that's just the biggest takeaway that I have, that we both have from this book, is it's fun.
That's if you can tell beyond a shadow of a doubt if a writer or artist doesn't love the character that they're writing or drawing. Like if you look again, I'm gonna bring up the book I'm talking about in a second. I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you it's Nightwing.
Anyway, just hop in. Let's segue into that book.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's go into it. Let's get it.
This book was great. That's all. It was great. It was a blast.
It was spectacular, from the words of Bryce Sexton.
Very much so spectacular. But okay. So the next book I'm gonna talk about is Nightwing by Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo. This is a book that I was talking about that this shifted big time in just one issue. Like if you read the run prior to this issue when Tom Taylor took over, I don't count Dan Jurgens because I think
it was more fixing. It was more fixing.
Yeah. Dan Jurgens was the cleanup crew to all that. Who was it? Was it Tim Seeley? Was it Dan?
So let's break down the years of Nightwing. When Dan DiDio became publisher, he said, "Hey, these are 2 characters I don't like: Wally West and Nightwing," because he doesn't feel like they're their own characters. He feels like they're side characters of their higher character. Like Wally West is side character Barry Allen, and Dick Grayson is of course the lower to the Caped Crusader. Batman. We all know that.
2 of the best characters in DC Comics when given a proper chance.
DiDio made these 2 the poster boys for DC to torment. So he's like, "Hey, Tom King, shoot him in the head."
Yeah.
So then he's Grayson, so he's no longer relevant. We're gonna kill him in Battle of the Cowl, and then in New 52, he's just gonna be away. So,
but yeah, in Rebirth with Tom King, he was shot in the head, and that carried over to his book. And you can tell whoever was writing that book, if he would have actually had a love for Dick Grayson and wanted to use that amnesia to kind of not rebuild the character, but let us rediscover the roots of the character,
right?
Then that it would have been good. I could have seen that being good,
right? And see, if you're not going to his views and broad, I was never a huge fan. The MCU has given him justice, and
Chris Hemsworth did a great job, and is continuing to do a great job with Thor. Can't wait for Guardians 3. Can't wait for Love and Thunder.
And he is going to be in more movies past that we don't even know about yet. So keep your eyes out.
Chris Hemsworth is still around for the long run, so it's nice to see that one of our flagship characters is sticking around. And the shift from the Infinity Saga to this new thing isn't so abrupt.
Right.
That's the thing. I like these characters sticking around, like Falcon and Winter Soldier, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Again, foreshadowing.
With
Nightwing.
Was I don't know. I had issues.
You didn't like it?
I liked it. I didn't love it. I thought my hosts are different.
Okay, okay. This is where I think our taste, like our difference in tastes, will come into play. And wait, what?
They ruined him in the Infinity War.
Okay. They ruined him in Endgame, but I think they're redeeming him. I can see them redeeming him. Now, in the first Thor movie, I really liked him. And in Thor Ragnarok, definitely loved the character.
I'm going to bring up the Dark World. We're going to excuse that movie.
Dark World doesn't exist.
Dark World does not exist. Anyway, let's talk about Nightwing. No more Thor.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. We'll talk about MCU later.
Come on.
Yeah. So if the previous creative team, this is how much the series sucked. I don't even remember who they were. I jumped off that book 2 or 3 times before picking this up.
Yep. I say dog.
And dude, I couldn't. My financial state wasn't worth that. That's why I jumped off ASM too and haven't endured.
Oh, yeah. Correct, but
basically, like, I'm trying to let me regain my train of thought. Okay. If the previous writer had a love for the character Nightwing, I could have seen the Rick Grayson arc working to an extent, but he didn't. You can tell that Dan DiDio put the character who hated Nightwing the most on Nightwing to make it one of the worst books at DC.
Yep.
But now that Dan DiDio's gone,
yeah,
we get Infinite Frontier Nightwing, and my God, this book was amazing. This book was amazing. Okay, so this is written by Tom Taylor, art by Bruno Redondo, with colors by, let me skip a few pages to find out who's the colorist. Adriano Lucas.
Yes. Those were fun.
Also, Bruno Redondo did the A cover too, which is a fantastic cover. Look at that Bloodhaven skyline in the logo. But so we open up in Gotham Heights Park in the past, and you can tell Dick is kind of monologuing about always hating bullies, and it shows somebody getting bullied, kids getting beat up, and you see this redheaded girl come up behind him trying to defend him. Now, I knew immediately that this was Babs, Barbara Gordon, of course.
Oh, thank God she's back.
Thank God Barbara Gordon is back, and I'm actually really liking what they're doing with her as Oracle so far.
Yeah.
Bringing back Oracle. But so they're bringing Barbara Gordon and Dick Grayson back together, and you think this person is Dick Grayson at first. This person getting beat up. At least I did. I thought it was Dick Grayson. But no, turns out Dick Grayson is also there to defend the kid from these rich bullies. Right. And he's still monologuing, and him and Barbara both get in a fight with this group of guys to defend the kid. And then the police show up. The Gotham City Police Department show up. And this kid's like, oh, man, you're in so much trouble. Like, my dad owns the police. And Barbara's just like, what do you think, Dad? And it's Jim Gordon.
Just shifted.
It's Jim Gordon. And that's what I really liked about this so far. I like how they're taking Nightwing back to his roots with Batman's mythos, but keeping him separate from Batman too.
Right. It's like a lot of times it's okay. The only time you're gonna get a Nightwing book, but he has to do something, or he has to mess up stuff. Batman can go out to him, but he's not really at that point where he's in the mentee position, you know?
Yeah, it's like you're gonna get Nightwing for Batman to save his butt.
Right. And that's really been the status quo of Nightwing since Dixon left.
Yeah. Which I've always preferred Nightwing to Batman. That's like
thank you.
Nightwing is my second favorite character at DC behind Barry Allen's Flash. I know how we feel about that, but don't worry, Wally West is my third favorite. It's Barry, Dick, Wally.
Nightwing.
Nightwing. Okay. But it switches sometimes between Barry and Nightwing.
Oh, okay. Good.
It switches sometimes. Like this book, it made it switch a little bit.
Right.
This is where we get our first beautiful moment between Dick Grayson and the one and only Alfred Pennyworth. Just
yes.
That's me and my comic shop owner were talking about how, like, who was the strongest character in the DC universe. John, if you're watching, my final answer, Alfred Pennyworth is the most powerful character in the DC universe.
He has all the money bags. Spoiler.
What was it I said to somebody else? I said Batman will take Superman head on. He will take Darkseid head on. Alfred raises a leather belt, and Batman's like, no, please don't.
Master Bruce, it's bedtime.
I don't want to go, Alfred. It's basically like, don't let
the Alfred voice though. Okay, continue.
Don't let the comics or the DCEU or anything fool you. If you've seen the Lego Batman movie, that is the actual relationship between Bruce and Alfred.
Yes.
But no, so it goes up to basically says, Bruce doesn't like when I do these things. He wants me to only be a hero when I'm in the Robin costume. He wants me to keep a low profile. But luckily, Bruce wasn't there when Jim Gordon took him home. Alfred is the DC Shaggy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Quote of the night. I'm editing the description. Alfred is the DC Shaggy. You heard it here first. Goonie Geek.
Goonie, go to the actual comment section and drop that in the comments. We will pin that.
Yes.
We will pin that in the comments section.
We are getting pinned.
So that everybody that watches the replay knows what's up.
Exactly.
But you get this really great moment where Dick is in there. Dick is in the house. He's doing the dishes. And Alfred's like, Master Dick, that's my job.
Master Dick.
Master Grayson, excuse me. They meant, he says something about that in his book. It's like, life can't be easy when your name's Dick.
Yep. Master, you heard it. That's another one. Master Dick.
My last name's Sexton, so I can relate.
My last name is Feldman. I'm Jewish.
Yeah. But, Dick says, it's like, I just want to help. And Alfred's like, I know. And he's basically like, I know Master Bruce wants you to keep a low profile and only be a hero when you're in the costume, but I'm glad Dick Grayson stepped up today. And so then we turn the page, and actually there's one more quote. There's a specific quote from Alfred that I want to highlight. It takes a different hero to help without a mask. And that is a major theme of this book.
Yes.
It's a major theme of this book.
Major key. Keep it Khaled.
But just to showcase some of this Bruno Redondo art, in case you guys didn't read the Suicide Squad run.
Yep, I didn't. When I heard it was getting canceled.
Look at that double page strip. Look at that.
Oh my gosh. That is spectacular. That's getting a spectacular out of me.
Yes. I didn't read the Tom Taylor, Bruno Redondo run on Suicide Squad either, but I did see some of the art.
It like, oh yeah, it's getting canceled like 3 issues in, but it was such a great book.
They took it. I think they took it to 10 issues, thankfully. So I might have to read that run.
It was the top seller. Like, oh, by the way, it's ending because we're actually doing something with our company now.
Yeah.
That's just 2. But
no, okay. So spoiler alert. This entire thing's spoiler alert. But the only Nightwing, the only actual Nightwing we get in this book is this right here. These dudes are chasing this 3-legged dog down a street, and they're kicking him. And then Nightwing shows up, and he says, I'd usually open with something witty, but then again, I'm usually not this disgusted. And I like that they're bringing back some of Nightwing's humor. Actually, they're bringing back a lot of Nightwing's humor, especially on these next couple of pages. But yeah, the only Nightwing you see is him saving this dog.
And it's the most Nightwing we've ever gotten in the past 10 years.
Exactly. And normally I would just be like, oh, he's saving a dog? I'm a huge dog person, but in my comics, like if the only superhero action we're getting
what is a puppy?
It's a puppy. It's an adorable puppy. But I would be a little weirded out. But the fact that it's Nightwing and the fact that it's Dick Grayson and the fact that he's finally back, he is the type of character that would go out of his way to save a puppy.
It's a puppy. He's a puppy.
And so they go to shoot this dog in the head. The bullies go to shoot this dog in the head, and this is when I really knew that Nightwing was back. This right here is when I knew that Nightwing was back. You know this panel I'm talking about?
Yeah. Where he's like
I'm not gonna let you shoot a puppy in the head. In my experience, he'll lose his memory and end up behind the wheel. He'll end up driving a cab. And trust me, no dog should ever be driving.
And with or without amnesia. So that's Tom Taylor saying, "Hey, Dio, pow."
I'm bringing this character back one way or another. And so this is another great moment. This entire book is just page to page, fantastic moments. When the dog bites him and he still picks him up, it's like, okay, we're taking you to the vet and then I'm going to the doctor.
And he's swinging again. Yes, with his batons.
Yes.
I've never been happy to see someone swinging that's not Spider-Man.
or Daredevil. I always get a little hype when I see Daredevil swing his billy.
No one does that. Nobody knows he can do it. But
nobody knows he can like extend his billy club and just.
Yeah, no one. Unless your name is Bendis, which thank you, Bendis. Yeah. I gave you shit early. Thank you, Bendis.
Like Zdarsky, get on that, man. Your book is perfect otherwise.
Yeah, just give us that, will be great.
Perfect otherwise.
Oh yeah, by the way, sweet plug for not for Nightwing, for Daredevil. We're not reading Daredevil, so obviously something wrong with you, so go read it. It's a great book.
Also, one comparison I would like to make, and this book somewhat solidified it for me. A lot of people say Daredevil is like Marvel's Batman. No. Daredevil is Marvel's Nightwing.
Yes. If you're a Nightwing fan, you're a Daredevil fan. It's like they go hand in hand.
They always go hand in hand. So we find out who the villains are, and it's Blockbuster. We're really going back to their roots here, which I like, especially since I've never really consistently read a Nightwing book. Yeah, I wasn't reading comics when Chuck Dixon was on the book. I haven't been able to track down the trades. Huh?
We weren't even alive.
Yeah, neither of us were. Shoot, that was the late 90s, wasn't it?
It was. They started in 93 or 94.
Okay, yeah. So we weren't even alive when Chuck Dixon was on the book. And so this is my first time really digging into Nightwing's villains. And so we see Blockbuster. He's meeting with the mayor. That meeting is very short. And he, let's just say, appoints a new mayor named Melinda.
If you remember the Ultimate Spider-Man issue, I believe it was like issue 12, where Kingpin takes the dude's head and just crushes it. That's what happened.
Yeah.
It's Ultimate Spider-Man Kingpin. This is what it is. If we're comparing it.
But we find out that Melinda's last name is Zuko. And if you know anything about the Batman mythos or Nightwing's history, Tony Zuko. I'm trying to figure out how to go the regular.
It's replay. You can do it like on the replay.
Yeah, you can do it on the replay. You can do it on the replay, man. Don't even worry about it. But we find Tony Zuko, who I'm guessing is this girl's father or grandfather. I would say father.
Father.
Killed Nightwing's parents. Killed Dick Grayson's parents. And that is what set him down the path that he is on in the first place. So he went to live with Bruce Wayne. That's how he became Robin and eventually joined the Teen Titans and became Nightwing. It all started with Tony Zuko. Right. And so now his daughter is the mayor of Bloodhaven.
Right. 100. And it's cool. It's cool, especially the next page is great. When we flip, we're talking about what happens next in the story. It's great.
Yeah. I like what it's setting up there. I think it's going to create an interesting dynamic. I always like when the villains have an ultra personal tie to the hero. That's why, like you talk about Spider-Man, Green Goblin will always be my favorite Spider-Man villain.
Exactly, because they're so intertwined.
Because there is a tie to Peter Parker.
Right.
Same with Doc Ock. But you can go down that Spider-Man rabbit hole all day.
Same with Kingpin.
Yeah.
The last thing about most Daredevil is so great because Daredevil is usually the one who gets him, who puts him in a position to be prosecuted, and then ends up putting him away to jail. So it's like
Yeah. Kingpin and Daredevil definitely have a huge personal
over, right? And he's getting shat on by Daredevil, and then in the courtroom, he's getting the person he's trying to screw over is getting defended by Matt Murdock or Foggy Nelson or whoever else is on the team. So
but
great. It's great work.
Yeah, excellent. But back to the Nightwing book. We can sit here and make parallels between Nightwing and Daredevil all day, but we're gonna try not to. We're gonna try to. Yeah. But so Dick gets home and somebody's in his apartment. Mind you, he still has the dog. He even bought a little kennel for it. And so he jumps in through his window as Nightwing. Somebody grabs him and throws him against the bed, throws him against the wall, lands on his bed, which should not happen to Dick Grayson.
Yes.
Unless you're the person who did it. And it's Barbara Gordon. It is Barbara freaking Gordon.
Yes.
So nice to see her back.
Yes. Get out of here, Bea. Like this one.
Which, okay, from what I read with B, I didn't think she was a bad character, but she is not Barbara Gordon.
It was like, why?
Yeah.
That was my biggest question, is why I mean this a thing, but.
Yeah. But so, basically, Barbara's there, and she talks about the dog with Dick, and she basically like, nah, like, this is the dog's home now. I know you well enough. Like, this dog's going to be here now. So Nightwing has a dog now.
And Barbara will be a lot more, not for him or for the dog.
Huh?
And Barbara will be over a lot more for the dog.
Exactly.
But let's talk about why she was in the first place. Yeah. Why did she show up in the first place?
Thank you for keeping me on track here. So, if you guys remember from the previous run with Dick getting his memory wiped, and Alfred tragically dying during this time, he was not at the will reading, and so Barbara.
What's his call to?
Yeah. And so Barbara is there to basically read Dick Alfred's will now that he's back. And so we find out that Dick to Alfred was basically like Bruce 2.0.
Yeah.
Like,
turns out Alfred had bank and gave it to Dick.
Alfred had bank.
Because Bruce was presumably supposed to keep his money. Unfortunately, in Joker, where Batman is broke, so where Nightwing is living now, he bought out the whole apartment complex. He would have to find somewhere else because he can no longer afford it because Bruce is broke. Now that Alfred gave him a fat paycheck because Alfred apparently did his investments like Warren Buffett and is set up Dick Grayson for life.
DC Infinite Frontier. Dick Grayson is the billionaire of the Bat family.
Who would have thought?
I
love it. I love it.
Yes.
And the letter between Dick and Alfred was so heartwarming. It was.
I'm not even going to go into the letter, honestly, because I want all of you that are watching live and on the replay to go pick this book up, and I want you guys to read the letter firsthand.
Read the letter. We're not even
reading. We're giving you guys the major plot beats, but
remember the quote that we said earlier that you're going to want to know. We're not going to say it again, so go back and look it up.
Or just don't even look it up. Just read the book.
Yeah, read the book. It's very rare.
Read the book and add it to your pull list. That's what I'm doing.
It's very rare that you get a book like this. That is
very rare.
That is
and then on the last page, just a little bit of an epilogue. Melinda Zuko gets home, and there's somebody saying that, I don't know if that's like her bodyguard or
Yep.
Yeah, her partner or what? Huh?
And it's like the segue of every closing issue.
Yeah.
Villain.
Don't
So this is
don't know who that is, and so this lady basically asked Melinda Zuko, it's like, what about Dick Grayson? And she's like, I'll handle him soon. Fable, what's up, man?
What's going on? Saw yesterday, Tag Team Thursday, great guy in the community. Fable, we just talked about Nightwing, so there we go. And guess what?
So it closes with
edit into the show, but
it closes with Melinda Zuko staring at a poster of the Flying Graysons with a circle around Dick Grayson's forehead. So we know that she's not going after Nightwing. She's going, in fact, after Dick Grayson. And it says the next story is entitled Ghosts from the Past, which I definitely think it will be. Guys, I cannot stress to you enough how much me and Brandon both recommend this book.
Yes, read it. It's going to be... Now, see, I'm happy. It's very rare that your favorite... Okay, so we all have our favorite, like, top-tier characters, right? You like Batman, Spider-Man, blah, blah, blah. And they're always going to have good creative teams. Hopefully, they'll have good creative teams. That hasn't been the case for either book, but...
Daredevil's one we don't have to worry about. He's written pretty consistently.
That your niche character gets the treatment they deserve, or that you want them to. Like Daredevil with Chip Zdarsky, I'm loving. Daredevil's my favorite character, and he's getting the best treatment that he possibly can right now. Nightwing is in the same category. I believe this book will be very enduring, very similar to what Chip Zdarsky's doing. I'm not like taking a niche character and making their series the best read ever. Okay.
Honestly, I hope Tom Taylor, lengthwise, my favorite book of the week too. Hands down my favorite book of the week, although there were some ones that came close. I know Thor came close, Radiant Black came close, and then this last book that I'm going to talk about here in a little bit actually surprised me.
Right. And before you do get in that book, I want to talk about Sword very quickly. The Sword number 4. But this is the third King in Black tie-in. So we had the first issue, which was a standalone issue 4, kind of introducing what Sword is all about. Coming out of Empire, Abigail Brand is like going against Alpha Flight. She's like, but I got this new thing because I'm a mutant. Here we go. Let's do it. So and we've had King in Black tie-in since, and I don't understand it. I don't like the fact that it's been a King in Black tie-in all this time, because I want this series to do it on its own, and I just don't want it to be like a retcon to what they're doing. It's trying to act like a bridge between King in Black and the X-Men and the Marvel Universe and X-Men, but it's not doing a good job at that. But Al Ewing is also trying to extend his plot through Manifold, who was trapped in a Krakoan world built by Null, or built by Cable, who was nullified. Does that make any sense? Because it's stupid. It's stupid.
A little bit. Is that who's on Sword? Al Ewing?
Al Ewing and Valeria Shitty. So you're Empire team. Skitty. Skitty or Skitty. So, yeah, that's it. That's basically the whole plot. Manifold's in the world. He gets out of it. He gets out of it at this point, and he goes back, and it's really everyone is just waiting for him to come out. They're not really doing anything. So like they're saying, but Manifold's like our guardian. What are we gonna do without him? Because we spent the last issue just getting to know Manifold. So that's what this is we got to know Manifold. Now we're just gonna let him kick ass. And he's like, I'm not even an Omega mutant, and I'm winning. And he gets out of this Krakoan nullified world, and Magneto is like, bring back Fabian Cortez, whose mutant ability, if you guys don't remember, created in X-Men number 1 by Chris Claremont, Jim Lee, was able to lift up, or extend, I don't think it would extend, but make their power stronger. Okay, so he grabs like Cortez's skull, and he holds it up in a very Magneto way, and he's like, we need to resurrect this guy, and that's where we're left. So that it's a good book. I feel like this book is going to get better. In 4 issues, it's going to be a better book, because it's not doing much character development. It has like a bunch of characters that no one really understands. Like, you could do so many different things, but it's tied down to King in Black for the time being.
And that's
which isn't it. It's great. It's fine. I read it. Am I gonna recommend it again? Yeah, because I'm an X-Men completionist right now. But I don't like. I not a fan of this being a King in Black tie-in. It's not doing it for me.
Which that's one thing that, excuse me. I'm not reading Sword. I'm thinking about maybe picking it up once this whole King in Black thing ends.
Yeah, so everyone's King in Black is over. You're gonna get a much better experience.
But it's I don't know. It's on what, issue 4? That's issue 4?
On issue 4, and
King of Black's getting ready to wrap up at issue 5. So this book started when King in Black did. So this book has pretty much been doomed to be solely engulfed in King in Black.
But that if you go back to House and Powers of X, right, and you look at, oh crap, what was the Oasis? Not the Oasis. The Oasis. Yeah, what they were doing in space, that kind of catastrophe that was supposed to come.
Yeah,
this is what Sword is supposed to be. So let's focus on preventing that. That's what they're supposed to be. Okay, but they're so caught up in what's going on right now in the cosmos. So. Yeah. I think it's just stuck here for the time being. So give it 2 more issues. You can skip over probably the next 2 issues and then pick it up.
Honestly, as just starting a series, if you wanted to start Sword, I would have waited until after King in Black to start the series, because you don't want to start a series practically as a tie-in.
Right. Read the first issue. I would read issue 3 just to get a feel of Manifold. He is a key character in this.
Yeah.
And he's just a glorified bishop, but it's great. And then the last,
we're missing a little bit of Bishop in Dawn of X.
Oh, yeah, we have seen Bishop. We saw him. He got a lot of moments in the recent Marauders issue. So
in Marauders, oh shoot, yeah, he was. Okay. So X-Men, Dawn of X, there's something for everybody. A lot of people recommended Marauders. I might catch up, but it just wasn't for me at first, and I needed to cut my pulls down because of financial.
If it's not for you, then it won't be anytime soon.
I mean, I'll probably check it out on Marvel Unlimited.
Here's the thing about the X titles. If it's not for you from the jump, I highly doubt it's going to change your mind. Like, there have been people who are like, I'm not reading Excalibur. This book sucks. That's just because you're not much of a magic reader. And if you are, it's kind of harder for you to understand what's going on with the Braddock mythos and everything going on with Apocalypse and how he ties into these other mutants' origin stories to further everything. Now, kind of suffer through Excalibur to get to Ten of Swords, so I'm sorry. I love Excalibur because I like what it's doing. I like the magic part of it. I love reading magic in it.
I'm a huge magic fan. The Excalibur started off very slow, and
it's gotten.
I dropped it. So that is a book I am looking forward to catching up on Marvel Unlimited.
Right, it's gotten better. It's mostly let's explore how Otherworld is going to affect us. But now it's like, okay, what are we doing with Betsy Braddock now that she's if you didn't read Ten of Swords, well, screw it, you were wild too. She's dead. She died. So they're like, oh, we're gonna bring her back, but she's not the same because she died on Otherworld.
Yeah.
Last book I read, I'm just gonna talk about it really quick. Captain Marvel number 27. I skipped over like the Captain Marvel Beyond arc because I don't do Beyond arcs. I think that's just a clear hiatus for the creator to say I don't actually have a story. Let me put them in the future. So this is by Kelly Thompson, art by David Lopez, who is a great artist. And Carol's back on in her timeline. It's like she's suffering from a hangover / depression of everything she saw in the future or everything she experienced in that future. She obviously broke things off with Rhodey, which is a thing in this run. And I kept tabs on this run. Kelly Thompson's a very solid writer, so I keep tabs on her, support her out. And Jessica Drew's coming in. She's trying to get her out of the house, right? And Carol's like, yeah, no. So she breaks in, and then they go fight this like big space cat that apparently they have like goo coming out of their butt, like alien goo coming out of their butts. I don't know. It's weird, but it's fun because they fight him off, and then she goes back to bed. Obviously, Spider-Woman comes back today, and she's like, we're going somewhere. We're gonna go have fun. We're gonna have a girls' night. And so, of course, Hazmat is from early in the run, who is kind of like the mentee to Captain Marvel in this book, and then Spectrum was there, and then Captain Marvel's sister, her half-sister, her pre-sister, which we met in Empire, came in, but she had to leave because Emperor Dorak, or Emperor Folkley called her back. So she would do that, but they take her speed dating, they take Carol speed dating, she's not into it. Now, this is part of the book that makes me laugh. After, the same monsters show up. So, of course, she changes into Captain Marvel. on her speed date. She's meeting all these guys. Like one dude is he's what? He's the what does Blake say? He is a online troll. The other one is a lifter, and the other one is like, oh, you look hot, but you look like that superhero. Like, I'm, Captain Marvel. That's me. And he's like, no, not her. She did that. But yeah, she turned to Captain Marvel. She defeats the guy, and then she's back at the bar. Stephen Strange shows up bitching about his day, how he let a patient die. And this is where the book gets a little weird.
Been all over the place this week.
Stephen Strange, this week was like the crossover.
He's all over the place. Like, doesn't his own series got canceled? Throw him in everybody else's books.
That's what happens with Everett. That's what happens. Is okay, now he's free range. We can use him, and I like it. But okay,
now let's get a good title of his next.
Yes, in Savage Avengers, Stephen Strange slept with Elektra. Okay, Stephen Strange is known for swinging the baddest bitches in the Marvel universe. Literally, he is known for pulling every girl, and that's exactly what happened.
The medical doctor and the sorcerer. You can pull me if you wanted.
The next morning, and she's like, "Oh, and supposedly this is what it was." She's like, "Oh, but accidents happen, right?" And then Steven's like, "Yeah, but we can make it happen again." And then they make it happen again. But I'm just like, Steven, my God, you gotta let me know how you do it. I love this book. It was so much fun, and what really intrigued me was the cover art by Marco Cicchetto. Let me just highlight it a little bit.
Cicchetto is, in my opinion, he's my favorite artist working at Marvel right now.
So this book was a lot of fun. It was very lighthearted. Savage Avengers, yes, Savage Avengers is great. Now whenever Kev Walker decides to draw a book, it's ruined for me for some reason. I'm kind of bummed that he's on the book now, but I'm still picking it up.
Didn't he draw ASM for a little bit in like the 30s?
And it sucked. He drew like he drew issues like 25, 28, and then Iban Coelho did 32 through 33. So that's why it looked good. And then Ron Fiera did some issues.
I stopped reading after 32. Yeah, I read from 26 to 32 and just.
Kev Walker was there right before Mary Jane's departure into her own series.
And right before the whole 2099 thing, too, is what I remember.
Yeah, because Gleason drew that. And don't read it. But yeah, Savage Avengers is another great book. You get your Conan, you get your Punisher, Wolverine. They actually fight in issue 3, so go pick that up. Go read that.
I remember that book. I actually read the first 5 issues of Savage Avengers.
Yep. It started off with Diodado's art, and then it went to... No, Carlos Pagliano didn't do it. Anyway, it's a blunder of
Diodato was a big reason I was picking that up, because I had no idea who Jerry Dugan was.
It wasn't Chris Pagliano. He was doing the covers. I'm trying to place who that artist was. Ron Coelho, I know, did a few issues.
And Elektra was in that book too for a little bit, but she's doing her thing in Daredevil now. And
she's still in this book.
Elektra's still in the book.
Yeah, dude, she fucked Doctor Strange.
Fair. Screw continuity, I guess.
Savage Avengers. It's Conan. Come on.
At least DC gave up by now.
But those are all the books that I read this week. Captain Marvel is a recommend, especially if you've not been reading that book. This is a great jumping on point.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not reading it, so I might have to check it out.
It's a great jumping on point. And those are the books I read.
All right, so I have one more book left, and this was honestly that would be kind of cool. I would like to see him do something with Wolverine.
Yes, I would like to see him draw Wolverine, but I would like to see him do more Hellions. I would like to see him do Hellions.
Yeah, that would.
Can he just draw Emma Frost for me, please?
Well, okay. Here's my thing. Would I love to see Cicchetto do something like X-Force?
No.
See, I kind of think I would like to see it, at least for one issue. But Gary Brown did such a great job that I don't want to see him going anywhere.
Really, I was a bigger fan of Jocelyn Cassara on that.
Really? See, I think Gary Brown's art stood out more to me. I think I'm just a fan of that style of art where it's very not like like the charcoal, like the gritty style. I love that. That is probably my favorite style of art. But then
I thought there was better people for that.
It also has to fit the tone of the book, though. Like Radiant Black, I love the art in that, and it is the farthest thing from gritty artwork.
Right. It has to be comparing. I don't think Chichetto would be good on that sort of book, just because I think he's better at capturing landscapes than, like, I mean, he's drawing Hell's Kitchen. He's better like that, those tighter kind of landscapes, that revolve into like a bigger city. I don't know how good he would be on Krakoa, which is why I could see a Wolverine book.
Yeah. I don't know. I think if I was going to see Chichetto do another book.
I like this cover, and you got the New York skyline, and it's like, okay,
yeah.
Great. I would love more on a Spider-Man book, even though we have seen him.
Or sticking with New York centric, I wouldn't mind seeing Chichetto doing something like Doctor Strange.
I wouldn't mind seeing him doing anything.
I would.
Great, but I mean, yeah, Chichetto. We can sit here and talk about that all day, but I don't know.
I love the guy.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I think he would do better Marauders because it's outside of Krakoa.
Yeah.
You just waited 5 minutes listening to me to say that. Good job.
Yeah. Good job, Marco Chichetto. If you're seeing this, good job.
And I've spoken with him a few times, believe it or not.
You have. I've spoken with him in his I've had exchanges with him in his Instagram comments. I've never reached out, DM'd him. I want to, but
yeah, usually answers when I'm because he's in another time zone. But anyway, you have one more book.
I have one more book, and this was a complete surprise book. I picked it up on a whim because I'd seen a couple other people talk about it as their pick of the week, and while it wasn't mine, it came close and definitely exposed me to a genre that I'd never really gotten into before, and that is Ultra Mega from Image.
What's the price tag?
From Image Skybound, it was worth the price tag. You basically have 2.5 issues. I don't know if you can see how thick that book is.
So is that an 80 page or 65? 64 page, probably.
I'd say it's probably a 64 pager. But it's nice.
So it's Adventure Man issue 1, but it's $4. Come on now.
Yeah. But this, you pay for the nice layout of the book. This very much has 3 Jokers.
Yeah.
It's a prestige format like 3 Jokers.
There's nothing prestige about that book.
I enjoyed it for the most part, but no, back to Ultra Mega. Speaking of gritty artwork, I'm just going to go ahead and show you some of the artwork in this
book.
Huh?
Who's the creative team in this book?
Oh, yeah. So James Herron created it, wrote it, and drew it.
Oh,
and
no way.
Huh?
I said no way.
Yeah. And then Dave Stewart did the colors. Dave Stewart, another fantastic colorist working today, another one of my favorites. Anytime I see that Dave Stewart's doing colors on a book, I at least, flip through it in the shop, see if it's something I'd be interested in.
Right. And he did it for Silver Surfer Black.
Oh, yeah.
On that book, even though everyone on that creative sheet should have.
Silver Surfer Black, man. Silver Surfer Black. I had to sell my run of Silver Surfer Black a while back because it got hot and the prices started going up on it.
Good job.
Yeah, and I got my shop owner gave me issue 1 for free to try it out because I'd never read Donny Cates and I'd never read Silver Surfer.
And you were all in after that.
Dude, I'm all in. I read pretty much everything Cates comes out with now. You know this. But no, just to give you an idea, this is a kaiju book. And I've never really gotten into kaiju. So Godzilla, that's who I'd love to see on a strange book is Cates.
Tradmore.
Oh, yes. I would. Okay. I feel like I would get some trippier. You remember Chris Picciolo from the Jason Aaron? His art, I feel like Tradmore would just take that and add just a little bit of LSD or something.
Chill with that. This is a family-friendly show. No LSD. Friendly about this shit. Anyway.
But yeah, so it is a kaiju book, and this is actually on the back cover. This is kind of like the first monster you see.
Okay.
And so it's very grotesque, very gory. It's not a very plot-heavy book, although there are some twists. This is some of the stuff you see.
Okay. Yeah.
If you have a sensitive stomach, this book is not for you. But I happen to love gory action. And add in monsters and these guys that are their protectors known as the Ultra Mega that can turn from these puny humans into these kaiju fighters.
So it's Transformers but monsters.
It's yeah. It's kind of like Transformers-ish, Power Rangers-ish, mixed with a little Godzilla and add like a bunch of gore. Like literally at one point, you get a blood flood.
And that's
all. A blood flood.
An $8 price tag on the book. Huh? And that's all you need to slap $8 on the price tag.
$8 on this book. I bought it, and I'm probably gonna buy issue 2, which will hopefully be $3.99.
There you go. Hopefully.
But I'm not going to go too much into spoilers. The art was really good. It really fit the tone of the book. I can see how a lot of people pick this as their pick of the week. You get a lot of content. You get some really cool action sequences. It's not a very dialogue-heavy book at all. And this is basically, I will say, don't get too attached to these characters. Don't get too attached, because by the end of the issue, that could be considered a major spoiler, but I'm just going to say don't get attached to the characters.
That's with any book, unless it's Ultimate Spider-Man. But
that's with any book. Issue 2 is going to, I guess, carry off from the groundwork set in this, of course, but not the same. Not the same story. Same world, not the same story.
Oh, okay. There you go.
So you basically you remember what Robert Kirkman did with Firepower, and he did that Volume 1 Prelude trade paperback?
Yes.
And the series since then hasn't been that story. It's been that world and that mythos, but it hasn't been that story.
Yeah, I've stopped reading that book. So I'm like, I'm going to trade with it. It does.
It's a good book. It is such a good book. If you guys are looking for a new Image title, I have a few to recommend. This, Radiant Black, Firepower, Crossover, you name it. Just
Firepower, I'm waiting for trades. I'm just trade waiting into this point because Robert Kirkman's books are going to sell no matter what they do. He's going to get no matter. Here's the thing. I'd rather give my money towards a creator that kind of depends on it. I don't say Robert Kirkman doesn't depend on my sale.
Yeah.
Because as long as he's going to continue writing for Image Skybound, he is going to get as many issues as
Skybound's his company. Yeah, Skybound's his company. I just picked it up because I wanted to experience Robert Kirkman from the jump on something.
Right. Yes, that was my feeling as well. And it's like, oh, this is not the same feeling that people probably had on Invincible past.
Yeah. So as far as Image books goes, if you want to support a creator, this is one I would recommend because, like I said, James Herron is the creator, writer, and artist. So this is his brainchild entirely.
Yes, and speaking of brainchild, Carmen from last week by Gilliam March. Let's just say it's weird. That's all I gotta say about it. It's weird. It's weird.
You told me it was good, but I can tell it's not for everybody.
Carmen, no.
And I wasn't a huge I didn't read it, but I could tell I wasn't going to be a huge fan. But yeah, if you've been missing a gory action book and are big into kaiju and Godzilla, or if you're not, I wasn't, still pick this book up, support this creator, support Skybound because Skybound is honestly one of the best publishers putting out books right now.
Right.
Ultra Mega, definitely worth it. Not my pick of the week, but kind of close.
All right, and let's jump into comic book recommendations for the next week.
Yes, I actually need to.
Pulling up my list right now. All right, so I got it. I got you guys. So look it up right now. Let's start with another one from Boom. That Once in Future number 17 is coming out. This is going to be the thing issue by Kieran Gillen and art by Dan Mora. So this is obviously giving Dan Mora more room to really weave some Batman, and it'll come back to that book. But DC Comics, Action Comics 1029 by Philip Kennedy Johnson, art by Phil Hester. And I really
enjoyed that Superman book. I read it late and I really enjoyed it.
I'm a huge fan of that. And Philip Kennedy Johnson is going to be back in Creators Corner on April 17th. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm going to be tuning in. Y'all better tune in.
And then Batman Superman number 16 is by Genuine Yang. Pass. I don't know. I'm ready for that much Batman right now.
Well, Tech 1034 comes out next week too, and Marika Tamaki.
I'm only going to take Batman in so many dosages, and I don't think I can do more than one Batman. But that's just because they made me so sick of Batman.
DC I think I'm gonna pick up Batman and Tech in tandem for right now, just to see how the stories connect. And they're doing the Robin backup story to lead into his miniseries in a couple months. And
right.
That Detective.
1024, art by Dan Mora, stories by Mariko Tamaki. So it's an interesting creative team. Yeah. Detective and Future State was garbage, but yeah, sure. Teen Titans Academy #1.
Teen Titans Academy. I'm hyped for that book. I'm excited.
I don't know the creative team off the top of my head.
Let me check right here. It is, I don't know who they are, but I'm just excited for the concept alone. So your writer is Tim Sheridan, and your artist and cover artist is Rafa Sandoval.
Right. And
I like Sandoval's art.
Oh, 11 is coming out. Bitterroot #11. Another book I jumped off of, but I guess some people are reading it.
Bitterroot.
Haha, #3. Haha. I'm not reading that, but I know people are. In Marvel,
Kennedy Johnson.
Alien is coming.
Alien #1.
I'm
so hyped for that book. I love Alien. I love Ridley Scott's vision with that. If you guys can't tell, I'm a big movie guy too. So whenever my two loves combine.
Also, you have 2,000 different variant covers. So hope you find the one that you're looking for. And if it's the one that's $2,000 freaking bucks the next week, you're not going to see me having it.
I'm going to be sticking with the A cover by In-Hyuk Lee. In-Hyuk Lee is probably one of, if not my favorite cover artist working right now.
You got Cable #9, Amazing Spider-Man #2. Pass. I'm going to pick it up because I've been on the jump and
suffering.
I'm suffering through that book.
For you TMNT fans, that's #1.
You got 5 covers. Nice. I hope you get the one that blows up. But there are some badass covers coming out, so to choose is kind of difficult. I'm just going to go in and see whichever one catches my eye the best and be in it. Wednesdays are my lunch break when I go to the comic store, so I gotta get back to work.
Dude, there's another light week for both of us.
You got Cable #9, which is I'm picking up. ASM 62. I'm so reading. I'm gonna read it. It's more of a hate read at this point, but I have hopes that it'll get better. But it is. If you're not reading it, don't.
Yeah, don't.
You have the Carnage, Black, White, and Blood #1 of 4. This is the anthology series that I'm not going to be reading. It's a cool concept, not for me. But moving on over to Excalibur #19. Teeny Howard and I don't know who's on the book. Caselli is Caselli on the book? Oh, I clicked the wrong button. But I'm loving Excalibur. I'm an X-Men person, so I'm going to be buying it. And Marcus Toe is back on the book. Okay, that's cool. Marcus Anthony Toe. I like his work. You got Guardians of the Galaxy #12, which I am picking up. I am definitely reading that book. It is by Al Ewing, and art is going to be by Juan Cabal, I think, for this issue. And then you're going to get a new artist in the book after issue 12. Don't sleep on that book. It's going to be great. And that is the end of an arc. So it's going to be it's awesome. I'm loving that book. King in Black Scream #1 pass. No, thank you. Giving up on those.
I'm sick of tie-ins.
Their tie-ins have not been great for the most part. Oh, and Savage Avengers is coming back. Savage Avengers #19 is coming back, and I'm excited for that. And then the last book that Miles Morales Spider-Man #24. It's the start of a Clone Saga. Pass. Hard pass.
I don't know. I've heard Ahmed's been doing a pretty good job on that.
Yeah, but I don't do Clone Sagas.
You don't do Clone Sagas? Fair enough.
They were
Lotto, Finch, Gleason, Momoko, and Loroka.
There you go.
Okay. You're missing the In-Hyuk Lee cover, but you got Delato in there, which is close enough. So
right, and then the final of our show tonight is I haven't finished watching Snyder Cut. There aren't enough hours in my day to dedicate 4 hours to it. So let's talk about Falcon and Winter Soldier.
You care if I touch on Snyder Cut a little bit at the end?
Oh yeah, go for it. Try the Snyder Cut. Plug in my charger from my computer.
Yeah, you good?
Go for it.
Okay, so we going Falcon Winter Soldier next?
We can go Snyder Cut and close with Falcon.
Okay, so I actually did watch the entirety of the Snyder Cut in one sitting.
Oh, good for you.
I started at 6 p.m. last night, Had to pause it a couple times, get some food, go to the bathroom, the usual movie junk, and it's a 4-hour movie. So I had to do that a few times. And so I ended up finishing it around 11 o'clock. I loved it. Oh my word, I loved it. I've been telling people all day, like, seriously, watch this. And that's just coming from me as a huge Justice League fan. Yes, Fable, thumbs up to the Snyder Cut all day. I'm giving it 2.
I'm liking it so far.
It's not perfect, but it's close in my opinion. I'm a way bigger Justice League fan than I am the Avengers. And so after 4 good Avengers movies, good if not great Avengers movies, it is so nice to finally get a good Justice League movie. It is so nice. I actually tolerated Ezra Miller's Barry Allen in this. I hated him in the Whedon cut.
I hated him, period.
I'm not saying I like him. I like Ezra Miller as an actor, and I tolerated him. But the real standout in this movie, aside from like Batman and Wonder Woman, because those two are going to be the standouts, but Cyborg.
Oh yeah, Ray Fisher. I kind of feel like we knew that was going to be it.
Dude, Cyborg in this movie, you really get. Of course, he's Zack Snyder's favorite character, and so you're going to get his history fleshed out. You get a flashback to his origin. You get some really great Cyborg moments. I'm finna rewatch it.
Oh, good. I'm not even done watching it. You beat me twice.
I'm gonna. I don't know if I'm gonna rewatch it tonight, but I'm going to rewatch
9 hours of your week to watching the Snyder Cut. Great. I'm lucky that I can dedicate half of my weekend to it.
This weekend was the perfect weekend for all this to come out because I got a week off. I got a week off work or a weekend off work.
See, I haven't. So
you'll finish it eventually. So
we'll finish it
for Brandon's sake and for anybody else in the chat who hasn't seen it all the way through. I'm not going to talk spoilers, but it is immensely better than the theatrical cut.
And I'm getting that vibe too. I'm at the midway point of the movie. It feels like I would have liked these to be separate films, kind of like what the MCU did. Because if you're going to bring it, here's the thing that my biggest issue with this book is kind of the roots of it. It's like DC trying to play themselves. This book is not canon, which means this is the only Darkseid you're going to get, and this is your biggest villain in your mythos.
Yeah, that's the only thing with this movie is I didn't think there was enough Darkseid. I do still love. I like it as a guilty pleasure. I can watch it and laugh at it and be mindlessly entertained by it, but that's about it.
Fixes problems. I have Flash and Cyborg. So
I still think the way they made Barry so quippy, like Barry's awkward to an extent, but he's not quippy or anything. If they would have just in the script, instead of typing Barry Allen, typed Wally West, they could have kept pretty much all of the lines.
Right. My biggest issue again with this movie is there's so much buildup for a movie that's not. It doesn't matter in the bigger picture. And this is a character like Darkseid, which you're not going to get another opportunity like that.
Yeah.
So I believe this movie is still giving false hope to DC fans.
Would I like to see a part 2? Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, I've always felt DC works better with standalone movies. And so even if this is a standalone movie, which it's not, it carries over from Batman v Superman and everything else. But
great for Zack Snyder. Good for everyone who quoted and bitched and moaned and bitched for 3 years. You got your movie. I hope you guys enjoyed it. From the bottom of my heart, I hope you enjoyed it. I asked you all this, was it all necessary? And my answer to this day is still going to be no. Because if you're going to do it right from the start or don't do it at all.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Like, if you go to Dairy Queen or something and you order a chicken strip basket, is a blizzard necessary? No. But it still adds to it immensely.
No. But here's still where I'm trying to go right now.
I can relate everything to food. I can't help it.
You're making me hungry. So I look at this movie, and the only time you're going to use Darkseid, and barely any dark side, but it took so much building up, and it even took a redo to finally get it. And you can only do this. You can only do it once. You ask yourself, as a Justice League fan, as a DC fan, which I am too. I'm a hard critic, but I enjoy it. Who is bigger than Darkseid? Who is bigger than Darkseid? Who can beat?
As far as bigger villains, nobody.
Who can beat Superman other than Darkseid? Who? Don't you
Black Adam? Black Adam, maybe.
Yeah,
he's going to move pretty soon.
And with Henry Cavill, I would rather see that in a boxing ring.
Get the Rock and Henry Cavill in a boxing ring.
Now, I don't prefer the recolor of the Unto Aquaman 2017.
The recolor.
I don't know how to answer that because I never.
I liked the recolor a little bit. I loved the rescore. And I liked the design change with Steppenwolf. I enjoyed the moments between.
Yeah, Steppenwolf looks less disastrous.
I like the dynamic between Steppenwolf and Desaad. Like, I like their scenes together.
Yes.
But Darkseid doesn't really have scenes with anybody. That's like, I don't like that.
Because you can only use Darkseid once.
It's Steppenwolf and Desaad. And guys, all I'm going to say, I'm not going to spoil it exactly, but don't expect a battle scene with Darkseid. Don't expect this big climactic third act thing with Darkseid, because
now could they possibly have done build-ups of Great Goodness and bringing in some more new gods, bringing in Metron? Absolutely.
Yeah,
it took a little bit more time, and I think a big issue with this movie and with stuff that Zack Snyder has done is it feels way too rushed and it doesn't feel settled.
Yeah. Now, in my opinion, the
script is still very rough, from both Whedon and Snyder's. Obviously, I prefer Snyder's much more Whedon's, but it feels very rough, and I think they could have tightened a lot of things up. Especially, I think Ray Fisher deserved every spotlight he got, and I think Ray Fisher has every right to have beef with DC right now because, you're the most talented actor on that cast. Now, if you would have told me, okay, hey, Brandon, you're going to watch this movie. Your two favorites are going to be Superman and Cyborg. I would literally have slapped you in the face and walked away and said, bullshit. How much money do you want? How much money? But
now, that's Henry Cavill. Honestly, I wasn't a Superman fan for the longest time, but going back and rewatching Man of Steel, watching the Snyder Cut, Henry Cavill is largely what has made me fall in love with the character of Superman.
Thank you. I don't know if it's because they made me dislike all the other characters, and he was just the only remainder who he just did a great job. It's because he did a great job, though.
Well, okay. Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman is going to be great no matter what. You can give her some of the worst lines, and yes, you would understand that her lines were garbage, but she is Wonder Woman.
Yes, she is, and she was a fine Wonder Woman. Don't get me wrong. It's just DC overthrows Wonder Woman at us because her own shit never holds up.
Now, in the movies, I'm fine for them to throw Wonder Woman at us all day.
See, the one thing I'll say is moving comparison to any other superhero flick, because the fact that it's redo. I mean, I just think that it's
yes and no. Because the Whedon cut is the Whedon cut. Zack Snyder didn't direct it, and therefore he really didn't redo his.
I'm not judging off the fact that it's a redo. I'm saying that, okay.
Now, it's a technicality, but still.
No.
Shout out to Zeus. Yeah. Yeah.
No, shut up. Henry Cavill, he was born to play Superman. Yes, he was.
Very much so.
Tom Welling was a great Superman, but he's nowhere compared to Henry Cavill.
Which, as far as TV goes, I like the guy that's playing him on Superman and Lois right now.
See, that show to me is not holding up. But Snyder Cut...
It's a different dynamic. It's a very different dynamic.
Would I have enjoyed it the same way I am now? I don't know. I don't know, because there is that theatrical thing, But I feel like you got the same energy, right? Because you still had the con promotion, which everyone freaked over, right? You still got that bombarding us. You got 3 years of hype, and this is what you got, and it's finally here. So again, if you want to me, it's worlds better.
Yeah, and there's going to be a definite bias too, though, having seen the theatrical cut already.
Right. There's going
to be a bias.
I'm trying to talk about eliminating that bias. Now I'm enjoying it, but am I loving it? No. I still think there are things. I think it's because we got such garbage the first time, and this is anything above is a bigger leap. But the fact that this is better than the other DC films we've gotten
with the exception of a couple.
It's a big stepping stone for them because now they know it works. They know it works.
Yeah,
but like wasting the energy of the DC universe because guess what? Zack Snyder's not doing any more films.
Yeah,
that's my biggest takeaway. Great.
Like, as far as that whole universe goes, yeah. As far as that whole universe goes, I would rank it alongside Man of Steel. The Snyder Cut, I would rank it alongside Man of Steel. But below Wonder Woman and Shazam.
Okay. That's the thing. That's the thing, really, and you got it, great. But it's over. You're not getting any more. So enjoy it. I hope you guys enjoy it. Enjoy the crap out of it. But it's over, and it's time for DC to say, okay, look back at what happened, what's been going on with your movies, what works. Okay, now how can we make it better? That's kind of what Marvel did with the Avengers. Okay, now how can we make it better? And I'm not trying to compare the two because they are two separate things. They're doing two separate. They're building their stories in two separate ways. But DC needs to look at this thing and say, what did not work? Bring in another director. What did not work? Getting Ezra Miller. What didn't work?
I'm still gonna watch his movie. I'm still gonna watch his Solo Flash movie because I
they also need to understand the power that their soundtrack has because their soundtrack is kind of making this movie different in tone and different in like the sense of grittiness. So that's just me. What of all movies?
I get that.
Nah, bro.
To be fair though, it's very rare that a director has to leave his own project mid-movie, and it was tragic why that had to happen. But you hated Shazam?
Shazam was it was very Jeff Johns.
Shazam is one of those movies that you either love or you hate. Which I'm a huge Jeff Johns fan, so
I liked Shazam, so I like the movie. Not being paid, just all the Black Adam sequences in the movie.
Yeah, I mean Shazam. It's very
just don't focus.
Don't focus. It doesn't fit the tone of the rest of the universe, so you kind of watch it separate.
It's like an indie book. It's like their Vertigo, but cheerful.
Exactly, but yeah, Snyder Cut.
Snyder Cut.
Yeah, Snyder Cut overall pretty good. I loved it. Brandon seems to be enjoying it so far. I think it is definitely better than what we got in the past, and I think if you wanted to see a good Justice League movie, you got one.
Right. I think I'll enjoy this a lot more once they come out with something else and they understand what happened. I'm more about, okay, what was great with the first Avengers movie? The fact that it happened, it was solid, but the fact that the next movie was leaps better, and they laid the groundwork and they made it better. They took something that was great and they kept it. That's what I want DC to do. Is I want them to understand what went well with this movie, and let's just do something that's better. I don't know.
There was a little bit of a dip in the Avengers one with Age of Ultron, but
it was still like, okay,
it wasn't that much of a dip.
Okay, Avengers was the first time you had cast the characters like that.
Yes.
Ultron just built on that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I get what you're saying.
They need to build on what they're doing, which they're not because Snyder's not there, but they just need to take the same foundation of, okay, this is what worked. Let's find something and make it better when we make movies. Okay.
Which now we've got more DCEU movies coming on down the road. And then over here we got Matt Reeves' Batman coming out. And so
I'm excited for the Batman movie. I don't think I'm excited for a single movie other than that right now.
Honestly, if I looked at at the beginning of the year, I looked at the MCU stuff, and then I looked at the Batman that was supposed to come out in October at that time. The Batman was number one. I didn't even care about Spider-Man 3.
Oh no! When you have a great rated R Batman movie and it looks dope, I'm for it 100%. If you're able to capture the dark alleys of Gotham that none of the other movies have, I'm there for it.
Yeah. The Nolan movies probably came the closest.
Huh?
The Nolan movies probably came the closest with like Batman Begins.
Yeah, it's in Gotham. When I see Sunshine in Gotham, and that was my biggest issue with the Christian Bale Batman was there was too much lighting. There's too much lighting in that because Gotham is not. So even though it was filmed in my hometown, it was filmed in Pittsburgh, but
Which that has to do with a little bit of his of Christopher Nolan, because if you noticed a lot of, especially like The Dark Knight, it was very blue tinted, and
I think Gotham is supposed to capture that dark side, the dark alley, back corners. You know, that's where his parents were murdered in. It's a very important.
Yeah.
So I just think you put Batman in too much sunshine, right? It just feels foreign.
You couldn't make Batman rated R before because you needed to sell tickets. You needed to sell as many tickets as possible.
You needed the children, and now that they're all adults, they're older teenagers.
Yeah. Like, okay, we were 5 when Batman Begins came out.
Right, and now kids are addicted to their video games, and boom.
This Matt Reeves Batman movie coming up is for us.
Yes. 100%. It was the kickoff. It wasn't what I wanted it to be. I enjoyed it, but I enjoyed it. You know what? I enjoyed it, but fuck, it wasn't that good. It wasn't like, it was slow. It was slow.
Well, like, okay, is that all you're gonna say on it?
It was slow.
That's all you're gonna say? Okay, so I personally, it was, with the exception of not having any scenes with Sam and Bucky together, it was exactly what I wanted it to be. It very much gave me a spy action thriller. It gave me a James Bond feel. It gave me a Mission Impossible feel mixed with some PTSD elements.
Yeah.
Which those are some of my favorite movies, are those spy heist action thriller movies. Like, you look at some of my favorite movies of all time, most of them are heist movies in some form or fashion.
Right, but I didn't get those same vibes. I didn't get the James Bond spy action. I mean, I got a little bit of it. It was more of a spotlight. I hated the last scene. I had so many issues when they brought out USA Agent. I was like, no! And as soon as he said, check the news, and the dickhead who was speaking behind the podium, I was like, no.
I didn't think they were going to do that early. I didn't think they were going to bring them out that early.
I'm like, God damn it. You haven't even had these two characters together. You made this whole thing about how we're going to hang up the shoe. And I was like, yes. And they just gave it away. Like, it was like Halloween.
Well, maybe, okay. So this is where I start speculating. Maybe US Agent is what brings Sam and Bucky together, because they both have such a strong tie to Steve Rogers.
Yeah, but Bucky is in his therapy sessions where he's like talking about feelings. And I'm like, no, I don't like Bucky being this emotional.
See, I do. I think it's totally different. I think it's about time that Bucky got his time to deal with his problems, because he said a line in there that really stuck out to me. It's like, I've been going from one fight to the other.
Right.
For the past 90 years.
But I like that part. You're just going to put him in another fight, so it's not going to matter. The next episode, I guarantee you he's going to kick someone's ass, and you're not going to remember anything he said on that therapy couch. I guarantee you that's the case.
I think, here's what I would want to happen. I think they would want to make him, and this is where I think Sam and Bucky are going to clash. Because Sam, you could tell from the get-go, that action scene with Sam was incredible.
Yes. Great opening, but it went down the hill from there.
And you can tell Sam is all about the action still. He is all about fighting the good fight. He's all about getting his hands dirty. And Bucky's moved past that. He doesn't want that anymore. And I think that's where we're going to see a lot of their conflict as the series progresses. is Sam wants to keep the fight going, and Bucky doesn't. Bucky wants to have a semblance of peace. And I think it'll create a very interesting dynamic, especially with the ties they both had to Cap and with the way they each remember him and the way they each knew him.
That's what I'm looking forward to the most, is diving into that. I just want someone to show up and look at John Walker. Like someone like not even Carol Danvers, like imagine what would Thor say if he showed up and John Walker just had the shield. He's like, I'm the new Captain America. What would Thor do? He'd just punch him in the face. Or what would that's what
okay, here's the thing.
What would Hawkeye do? What would Hawkeye
No, see, the one I always wonder, and it's not gonna matter because he's dead. But if Tony were still alive,
yeah, I was gonna say that. I was like, yeah, but now Tony.
How would he react? Or how would Sharon Carter? How is Sharon Carter gonna react?
Yeah, we didn't even see her in this. I was like,
or Zemo. You remember Civil War? How is Zemo gonna react to there being a new Captain America? Because
Batroc is working for Zemo. I think Batroc has been working for Zemo. I think they're gonna put those pieces together because Batroc was technically an anchor for Hydra. Hired by Nick Shield or Nick Fury on the back end of things. So Batroc, as everyone knows, works for Hydra in the MCU, and he's their hitman, always holding hostages. He's like, you need a hostage, hire Batroc. He'll never get the job done, apparently. But
now, one of my favorite things that I'm looking forward to seeing the most from a character standpoint is we see this note. We saw that. You remember the Notebook?
Yes.
Oh, are you talking about the one that came out recently? Was that not good?
The beautiful dead war covers. It was the one that I was supposed to review it for.
I didn't read it.
Yes, I was supposed to review it on Archives. I reread the first page. Like hard pass. This is not going up there.
Yeah,
It was bad.
I don't know. See, I just got back into pulling a ton of books recently.
It was bad.
So I'm very much going to be the TV and movie guy here.
If you want to read a good Falcon Winter Soldier book, or not a good Falcon, read the next Spencer Falcon book. It was good. It was good. And guess what? I'm praising Nick Spencer, so it's good.
Or for Winter Soldier, obviously got that Ed Brubaker run.
Yep, read Brubaker, Captain America.
But yeah, I still do need to read that, but I know how highly it's renowned. I know it's gonna be
great.
But going back to the show, one thing you saw that notebook, that Bucky was carrying around with the list of people that he was crossing off trying to make amends with.
Yes,
that is one thing I'm really looking forward to seeing is how he goes about that, especially with the dude that he was hanging out with that set him up on that date.
Yes,
that he had that nightmare about that he took out his. I like that they're giving Bucky a hardcore redemption. They're giving Bucky personal ties to what he did in the past. It's not like in the movies where it's like, oh yeah, I used to do this. Sorry, Tony, I killed your parents, but I'm not like that anymore. No, we're seeing the ramifications, and we're seeing how he's moving past that. We're seeing how he's moving past his days as Hydra's Winter Soldier.
And I like that. I want to see more about. Okay, so what's going to bring him back? Obviously, Hydra being back. He's like, okay, yeah, no, I got to stop him. Because he's obviously going to feel that. So I could totally see him going completely out of control once he sees the Hail Hydra coming back. I could see him going over the top. And I want to see him kick ass just on the right side.
Yeah. Which that is another way I can see him and Falcon kind of clashing is I can see Bucky wanting to take dealing with Hydra over the edge a little bit.
Right.
And Falcon kind of having to rein him in.
Right.
I feel like Sam is definitely going to play
more the icon.
I hate to make this comparison so early on, but I'm going to, and if I'm completely wrong by the end of this, I will admit it right here on this show.
I'm scared for what you have to say.
I can see this going down a Lethal Weapon route.
Okay, I've never seen that.
You've never seen the movie Lethal Weapon?
Nope.
Okay, so if you guys ever see the movie Lethal Weapon, you know what I'm talking about. I can see Sam being Danny Glover's character, Murtaugh, and I can see, I'm blanking on the character's name, but I can see Bucky very much filling the role of Mel Gibson's character at points, especially when Hydra comes around and he starts getting in his own head. So if you guys know the comparison I'm trying to make, let me know. Let me know if you can kind of see some similar things happening with it.
Right.
Because that's a vibe I'm kind of getting, because in Lethal Weapon you've got the straight man cop versus your rogue crazy former detective, I think, and they're working together as partners.
Right. My biggest hopes are that Marvel able to clean up some of the stuff on the groundwork. Like, we're going to see more civilian interactions. We're going to see more of, okay, how does this affect some of the lower characters, some of the lower people?
Yeah.
Okay, this is the time where we can patch up those holes. With Nick Fury, Maria Hill. How does because we never really got to see what the downfall of S.H.I.E.L.D. has done. We saw it in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but that was its own thing. We never, I want closure towards Falcon and Winter Soldier. Not Falcon and Winter Soldier, towards Captain America and Winter Soldier. I want to see, right, because you take down S.H.I.E.L.D., right? S.H.I.E.L.D. is huge. You take it down, what's left? What's building back up? Because you know that something is going to do that. Hello?
Yeah. Your sound was coming through. Your sound was coming through, but your webcam was jumping around a little bit.
Yeah, I got like a Wi-Fi bar that I was like, oh, screw you. But that's kind of where I'm at. Instead of this shouldn't be a time for you to introduce new characters. This should be a time to get to know the smaller ones. Like, what is Sharon up to? What are some of these guys from S.H.I.E.L.D.? What are they doing to get past that? Because we haven't covered that up.
Which I think we'll get a little bit of all of that, because, okay, if you look at this episode today, this episode was 50 minutes long. This episode is already longer than every episode we've gotten in WandaVision.
And I think that's gonna be the status quo of the series, is the 50 minutes.
And I think with that runtime and with the probably do 9 episodes.
6.
Only 6 episodes? Wow. But either way, I think they will at least provide closure for some of it. I'm not saying it's going to be perfect. I'm not saying it's going to be the best thing the MCU's come out with, but I really love the direction that it's going down so far personally, because that's my kind of thing.
Oh, and key books to pick up. I think Captain America 333, where becomes Captain America. That's not going to be very long, so if you have it, now's your time to sell it. If you are watching this to speculate on the books you have in your collection or books to buy, don't be surprised if you don't enjoy it, because that was the problem I ran into with WandaVision, is people were so busy speccing Mutants and Mephisto to where they were disappointed by what the show actually had to offer.
I didn't care, so I loved it.
Yeah, so if you're going to speculate, don't let it affect your vision of the show. Or if you are in a big speculation, don't listen to me. Listen to Very Gary. Actually, listen to Very Gary. That's really it. But I'm just throwing that out there.
But
Captain America book, sell it, because it's going to go up in price and the market's going to.
I'm not selling my Cat books. Captain America was probably my favorite Avenger in the MCU.
See, I'm either like a big Silver Age Captain America, or I'm a very pre-modern, like 2004, 2010. I'm not a big fan of the Ta-Nehisi Coates run. Everywhere else, it's like, I just want Captain Kick-Ass. That's kind of
the current Ta-Nehisi Coates run.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah, that's ending. That's actually ending in issue 30.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's ending in 25. Thank God. It started off great with Lionel, but then once the artists got inconsistent, the book got just as inconsistent. So
a lot of people are saying Dan Slott's going to come on that book afterwards.
Oh, please. That was some Dan Slott treatment of Cap. I would love that. I'd love Mark Waid to come back. I think Mark Waid still would have a cool story to tell.
A lot of people were saying give him to Chip Zdarsky. I don't know if that would be the right route to go, because Chip Zdarsky's more of a darker character writer.
I don't think Chip Zdarsky would want to do it, because he'd feel obligated to make it like his Daredevil.
Yeah. And Captain America is honestly too grand and too goody-goody almost, whereas Daredevil has a little bit of internal conflict.
He's a Christian who's going to hell half the time. Or he's a Catholic who's going to hell, sorry. But I feel like a lot of people, when a writer gets hot, like, oh, they'd be great at this book, this book, this book. But I don't know if that would actually be the case in reality, because each writer has a different thing to say about it.
Don't you dare put Donny Cates on Captain America.
Don't do it. No.
Don't do it.
Donny Cates is good in space. Donny Cates is good in space. He's good with his gods. He likes his gods, and I don't want to see a Captain America god.
Shoot, if Tom Taylor can split his time between DC and Marvel, put Tom Taylor on Captain America.
Because that would just be the biggest we would have of this decade. Donny Cates is Captain America turning the USA into some godly force.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, like, shoot, if Tom Taylor could split his time between Marvel and DC, I'd be down for Tom Taylor to try out Captain America.
If Joshua Williamson never comes over to Marvel, then Captain America would be
Joshua Williamson. That's a good one.
That would be a great book for him to do. I think Al Ewing would have a lot to say about Captain America being a British.
Yeah.
But anyway, that would,
honestly, Dan Slott's probably who they're going to go with, and Dan Slott would probably be a great fit given his history with Iron Man and Spider-Man and Fantastic Four.
He would be, yeah, he would be fun. He would be fun with Cap, I think. Someone who I would love to see come on to a Cap book would be Jeff Loeb, if he ever wants to write again.
Jeff Loeb, yeah.
That would be great. I would love to see Kirk Busiek do a Cap run, even though I think he did one in the 90s for a short time. I'd love to see Kirk Busiek do one.
Bring Brubaker back for a little bit.
I think I don't know if he has anything left to say, or it just be continuing what he left off. But that's the thing, is just because they had a good run, I don't know if they would have more things to say that would mean anything, or if it would just be, I'm coming back. You really want to be here. So this is what was in my drafts that I was never motivated to put out. That's the thing about returning writers.
Yeah, I can kind of see that.
That's why I don't want Josh Williamson to write another Flash for the next 7 years. Because I think a lot of ideas that he just threw out.
Now, don't get me wrong. I wasn't a fan of the Shinnick stuff when it was going on, but we're getting a new creative team and a new Flash.
Shinnick wrote 3 issues, so I was like, yeah, it's a good last.
And what do you write? 763 through 66?
The Endless Winter shit.
He didn't write that. He didn't write that.
Shinnick, I wasn't a big fan of Clayton Henry, so I was like, yeah, no, hard pass. Writer I don't care about, and an artist I really don't care about. But
yeah, Shinnick did that arc with Dr. Alchemy, which I honestly ended up kind of enjoying.
Oh, nice, great. But anyway, you guys,
but I didn't want a long run on it. That one story was fine, but I didn't want any more.
Yes. All right, you guys. Well, I believe that is it for Weekly Wrap Up today. The show ran a lot because we had a lot to unpack. Next week will be a little bit lighter. Thank you for everyone who joined in the live chat. You guys are real ones. And if you're catching the replay and you're watching this, if you made it this far, I'm sure you already liked and subbed and all that good stuff. I'm supposed to tell you about that. Of course.
Thank you, guys.
But once again, you can find our links here. You can find us on Instagram, ComixKings. You can find Bryce Hillbilly Comics. Hillbilly Comics is actually this way. Bryce is over here. But thank you guys for tuning in. This is Brandon. And that's Bryce.
Yeah, you're over here, yeah.
This is Bryce.
This is Brandon. No.
Yes. Sure.
All right. Have a good week, guys.
Take care.
Talk to you soon.
Thank you guys for joining.